Hi, everyone. This is Kate Byers, founder of Corporate Women Unleashed. Today's live broadcast, we are talking to high achievers who were born for this moment. Okay. And the message today is one of really true positivity. High achievers, highly successful, those of you who are out there leading the charge, there's two ways to look at what's going on in this historic and in some ways very unsettling times, is that you were born for this, right? If there's anyone out there who needs to lead the uncertain into certainty, who can lead the charge for those who are weak into strength, who can be that leader worth following, it's you, right? You are the ones who were born to do this. You are the ones who have the ability, who have put the time, the effort, the talent, and the hard work into becoming someone who can be strong. Okay. One of the things that can happen, though, is if you do not understand and if you've never learned how to maintain a very high level of mental acuity, of making sure that your emotional state stays high. If you are someone who, like a lot of high achievers, have been traditionally riding emotional highs and lows, so you go, 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 and then you drop, and then you have to protect yourself with some sort of, self-care, whether that's external or that's, just like going to bed early at night or drinking wine and all those things that we do. That is probably not going to serve you well at this time, right? This is the time for you to have really strong mental acuity, incredible amounts of energy, understanding how to keep yourself emotionally consistent. And I want to share with you how to do that. Because as someone who is a high achiever, you have tremendous amount of confidence. No one is more confident than you. However, confidence does not mean emotional stability. A lot of times we're super hyper confident, but then we get overwhelmed. We get angry. We get frustrated. Who are all these idiots around us that can't do this the way I can do it? If they would just get out of my way, I could solve for this. Why can't everyone see what is the clearest way to do things? And that irritation factor, that annoyance, that not seeing that it's your job to influence in how the work gets done, instead of getting frustrated at those around you, that right there, that's emotional instability. Or pushing yourself through back-to-back meetings to your triple booked, especially now with everything going on, and trying to keep your head above water. If you're in that sinking situation, then what happens when you go home at night? Are you walking in the door with patience? Are you walking in the door to really spend what little precious time you have with your family, feeling like your cup is full? Or are you expecting your family once again to have to be put on the wayside and understand that your job is so tough that you have little to give? Now, I'm not saying that we're not all in this together and that our families and our friends and our colleagues and our loved ones, we're not all leaning on each other. That's totally fine. But there's a difference, because when you understand what you are capable of as a high achiever, emotional stability, emotional consistency is important. Now, emotional consistency does not mean that we're not emotional. Doesn't mean that we don't get to feel the feels. We were having a big discussion about this yesterday with our executive elite group. You get to feel the feels. You get to have that moment. And that's one of the things that's so great about resourcing yourself in a community of people who are like you. If you are surrounded with other men and women who really understand what it's like to be in this pressure cooker, and there's reciprocity built into that community where it's like, look, we can be human. Nobody has to put on airs and pretend that you got this. We can say, hey, I need a shoulder to lean on. That's actually another way to create emotional stability. It's not about ignoring emotion, which most high achievers like to do, unless it's a happy emotion. It's saying, this is tough. I am feeling stressed. I need to shed a tear. And now I'm moving forward. But emotional consistency and stability is not driving, and then dropping and having to go into a protection mode. Emotional stability is stability. It's allowing for that emotion in those moments, surrounding yourself and resourcing yourself with people. Like I've resourced myself with some amazing coaches and mentors for myself. I mean, this is what I do for a living as well. And obviously we have a phenomenal group of coaches and mentors on our team. But to sit here and say that I am going to solve for this in isolation and work in a silo is ridiculous. I'm telling my coaches, hey, show me how to stretch me, make sure I can bring my A game, because more than ever, my clients, my team, the people that I serve, the boards that I sit on, those teams, they need me to be in this peak state. So I'm telling my coaches, help me maintain that. I'm having more calls with them and I'm investing more in myself in that way. And so you want to be in a community of men and women where you can do that with each other, right? That's another way to create emotional consistency, because not only do we have to do it for ourselves, and you have to know the tools and have some habits in place that create that. Otherwise, what happens is you are either going to deplete yourself, and then you're not going to be a use to anyone, right? Because your decisions are going to come slower. You're going to be edgy. You're going to be making decisions from lack of patience. You're not going to have well-being. And the things that are most precious to you in this moment of time, which is, your family, your friends, your loved ones, your health, that's going to completely go on the wayside. And I don't think any of us want to look back on this period of history and go, oh yeah, that was the time I took my family for granted and I expected them to have to put up with me. Right? Like, that's just not something any of us want to say. What we want to say is, no, that was a time that I was thriving. My family was thriving, and I was doing everything in my power to be who I needed to be in this moment. And that's something that's really important that is not talked about a lot in the corporate climate and executive climates, is that who do you need to be in this moment? Like, asking yourself that, who do I need to be? How do I want to experience this? We focus so much on what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are the answers? What are the solutions? Give me some brass tacks. Give me tactics. Give me strategies. But it's, who do you want to be and how do you want to experience this? Those are the hyper successful right there. Those are people who move through life, create great success, and they're not suffering in the meantime. And when you can do that for yourself, then you can do it for the next person. Then you can do it for a team. Then you can do it for a community. Then you can do it for an entire culture. That's rich. So that is something that you have to remember, that as someone who's a high achiever, you're born for this moment, but you can't burn out in it, right? Because one of the things that high achievers will do is we give and give and give. We overgive. We're either doing too much for others, or we're doing what we call heroing. I'm the hero. I got this. You don't really have it, but I do. Right? And that's a big one for us high achievers, because we don't trust other people around us that they really have what it takes. So instead of growing our teams up and saying, look, this is your moment to be this A player. I see this in you. Holding others accountable to be the highest version of themselves in a way that stretches them to grow into it versus makes them feel bad or criticized for not being that. That's another great thing of leadership. And as a high achiever, if you know how to do that, now all of a sudden this becomes fun, because now we're all in it together. You and your crackerjack team, you guys are all moving forward to be that solution, to be that leader that others rely on, to be that influential group. That feels good. And one of the things you have to remember when it comes to team management and to team leadership right now is your team is human, right? And so bringing a human element into that, not in the way that we just say, hey, does anybody need to have a good cry? I mean, that's fine too. But to say, look, we're all human. So let's raise our hand. Let's figure out what we all need to do as a group. Let's be, vulnerable and authentic in this moment. But guys, we're the A players. We can deal with this. We can be agile. So success, like I said a couple of days ago, is different for you and your team right now. It's not, did we do this thing? Did we get this project done? It's, how are we adapting in this environment? You have a whole new success metric for you and your team. And when you can bring that to light and you can bring to them the best versions of themselves, whoa. Not only has this gotten a whole lot easier for you, but it's so much more meaningful, right? To be driving at that level as a leader and to have the opportunity to help others rise up to be the highest version of themselves. You can be doing this at home with your family too, right? Like, we had a big discussion with one of our client groups a day or two ago about kiddos, really making sure that just because the kiddos are home doesn't mean that we're turning a blind eye to what we're doing, but it also doesn't mean that we're having super strict, this is what you have to be doing. Is really involving them into being the highest version of themselves. If your kids have never done chores before, now's a great time to start. If your son traditionally doesn't play with your daughter, well, she needs a playmate. So now it's your time to, grow into being a little bit stronger of a person and putting your Game Boy away and playing with your sister for a little while. Like, that's what I need you to be. And so it's this wonderful opportunity as a high achiever to really shine in the highest version of yourself. But again, it takes that mental acuity. It takes emotional consistency, which is practiced. That is not something you're born with, and it's not something that you're just going to wake up tomorrow having. So you've got to have those habits and practices in place. It takes resourcing yourself with the right people who are going to pull you and hold you accountable to be the highest version of yourself instead of, pushing down on you. And it takes you being a leader worth following, a leader who is influencing and a leader who's taking your team and seeing them as the highest version of themselves. That's thriving in chaos. And if there's anyone who can do that, I know that's you, right? So I hope this broadcast today has been helpful to you. I hope it's inspired you, and I hope it's helped remind you of who you really are. If you are someone who is going, okay, I don't have those resources available to me. I get it. That's why I reached out, and I'm further resourcing myself right now. We've got a whole team of executives who are happy to talk to you right now. I'll put a link below to a couple of things. We can link to one, a training. It's like 40 minutes. You can listen to it in the car. And it actually will tell you the steps to do some of these things I'm talking about. There's like 4 steps involved in that training. Just go through them, 1, 2, 3, 4. Very easy. I think it'll remind you some of the things that are really important for you to have in the front of your mind right now. And then after seeing that training, if you are looking for greater resources, you're looking to take advantage of this moment to really live in that higher version of yourself, just book a call with our team. We've opened up some extra time this week. So we're happy to chat with you and, see if we can support you in some way. All right. Look, it's been great broadcasting to you, and I will see you again on the next live. Bye.